Hey guys, Matt McKeever here with Mike and Matt on Fire, Michael Rosehart as always. And so today we're going to talk to you about automobile, car, vehicle, your whip. And
I'm going to start and say I love having a sick whip. It's nice to ride around it and you get a lot of respect from people instantly if you have a nice car.
Very first thing you do is when you get a job, you go buy a car, right? Payments, right? We're just going to focus on...
Here's the amount that I can actually afford. Here's what I want. Oh, I'm going to go with what I want.
Yeah, like why not just buy like a big safe SUV? And like you might as well buy new, that way you have the warranty. And like that's literally the pitch that was made to me. And I had to push hard to go against that grain. So maybe tell the audience a little bit about your experience first, and I'll dive deeper into mine, and then we can talk about some actual rules to live by when buying a car.
I've owned some cool cars. I used to do a little bit of car trading, so I would buy cars on Kijiji and sell them for more. I had like the Fast and Furious car. I think it was 2001 Mitsubishi Spider Eclipse convertible. Okay. So it was nice with the short shifter and like the bucket seats and all that stuff.
I cannot picture you as that. That's
yeah, just a little rice burner. Yeah. With the, it's so loud when you're around the corner that you can't hear anything but the car. I had that, like Mitsubishi Lancer, and just like a bunch of other cool cars too. Yeah. Let's be serious now for a second. Like buying a brand new car is almost always a terrible advice, and SUV is even worse.
Well, and like you can't like. Anyone that's been in the personal financial sphere, they've heard the thing, you lose, what is it, 30, 40% the moment it's driven off the lot, essentially. Yeah. And that's real. That's real.
No, yeah. Not only is, like, do you lose that money instantly, but, like, it'll continually depreciate over the next, like, 2 or 3 years considerably, right? Yeah. So it loses that new car, like, smell, like, things start to break on it. It starts to cost you money. I can understand why someone might try to argue that a new car would make more sense. They feel like it's safer. Yeah. They feel like
I think that's the biggest argument. Safety and warranty, right? People bring that up so often. The weird thing is, like, I spend so little on car maintenance over my life. Like, mind you, obviously, anyone that's seen my car, they understand that it's not a... It has nothing to do with my ego. It's not a reflection of who I am as an individual, at least from my perspective. So like, it's literally an A to B tool, and I treat it as such. Yeah. I'm not that nice to my tools. I'm not that nice to my car either.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's not a representation of who you are, right? Yeah. And that's why I was joking at the beginning that defines who you are. Not true. Look at Warren Buffett, like a billionaire who drives a little Corolla or whatnot. Fuel efficiency is everything. I had a Chrysler Neon for a while, and I loved that car. That Neon was like, it was a stick shift. Okay. So it was a standard manual car, not automatic. And I love being able to control the ultimate fuel economy, right? I could downshift and save on brakes. I was running everything. And like over the 3-4 years I owned it, it was like already 10 years old, and I didn't put like hardly anything into it. Yeah. I think I replaced the tires I found in that junkyard.
I think they kind of call that hypermilling, right? Like if you dive really deep into the early retirement forums, like there's so much about like seeing like 3 lights in advance that's turned red, so you take your foot off the gas, and
like you ride behind a truck to get the drift, the air drift. Yeah. Oh, all about that. You ride the hills down in neutral. You gotta always ride the hills down in neutral. I mean, I've been hypermiling since I was 16, so big hypermiler. I like to look at the manufacturer's mileage and go 50% more.
I think trying to gamify reducing your expenses is a great approach. Yes. But one thing I want... Yeah, absolutely. Make it fun. And one thing I want to circle back to, I think, is the very first notion that the moment you get your first adult job, you need to get your first adult car.
No. We were joking.
Yeah. And so, like, because they talk about a lot in the early retirement extreme, as well as Mr. My Mustache, like, ideally, you should be choosing where you geographically live around where you do your banking, your grocery shopping, and your work, right? Like, where do you make most of your trips to, and then try and reduce the need to make those trips. Yeah, and
pick a spot that's in the center of all those areas or whatever. You can bike or walk to all of those options. Yeah. It's sweet. You save yourself hundreds of bucks a month.
To me, it fits so many different goals, right? Like, if you're now walking to the grocery store, if you're walking to the corner store, you're walking to your bank, you're getting some physical exercise, right? You're saving on gas, you're saving on wear and tear. Like, there's all those big wins that just like way too many people get caught up in. But so what did your first car actually cost, like your first adult car? So like
a couple grand.
Yeah, and so how did you determine like what to spend on that?
So we were talking a little bit before the show about the 1/10 rule, right?
Yeah, so Financial Samurai, if you guys aren't familiar, go over and check out Sam at Financial Samurai. But essentially, he talks about, so you are, I meant to ask, I assumed you were familiar with him, but.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, because like,
I follow a lot of stuff.
He's very interesting because he's focused on more the high-end net worth earners, right? Yeah. And that's a niche that's not often covered because a lot of personal finance is focused on frugality. But what I found so interesting was, while Sam often projects towards really well-to-do individuals, people that are making six-figure incomes, he still has this 1/10 rule. And the 1/10 rule essentially is never spend more than 1/10 of your gross income on the purchase of the acquisition of the car.
That's right. So if you make 100 grand a year, you can't spend more than 10 grand on your car.
Yeah.
That's it.
And think about that. Like, how many people spend more than $10,000 on their car,
someone's
right?
making 30 grand a year, they go buy a Honda that's like 25 grand, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you just spent 100% of a year's income. Like,
I know.
What? And like, people are going to be flaming in the comments.
Yes.
Like, oh, I had this old car and like it cost me thousands in repairs. Let's talk about the numbers, because statistically speaking, what I've read is that the average cost of the car, right, of a really old car, is something like 25% of its cost. Like, if it's a really old car, 25% of what the value was when you bought it, you'll spend in repairs. If you add that up, it's still a lot cheaper than the depreciation alone on a new car. So that's something to think
and
about.
Like another kind of, I don't know what you want to call it.
And you don't spend that probably on... Like,
no, not anything. Man, like, I spend...
I wouldn't call it a win.
I've shared it on my YouTube channel, but like, I don't think that the most I've ever spent in 1 year on repairs and maintenance, and this would include oil changes, and I never do my own oil, would be under $1,000. I think that was a year that I bought tires, right? Realistically, like, again, I think you need to re-examine, if you're spending thousands of dollars a year on maintenance, how much are you driving? I literally put between 5,000 and 12,000 kilometers a year on my vehicle.
I see budgets too. Where like auto as a percentage of your spending is like sometimes 20, 30% for people.
It is. I think the average Canadian is somewhere between like 16 and 18%.
Like, that's like, oh.
Right?
I don't spend like hardly any of my budget. Like, insurance is like 90 something, and I'm young. Like, if I was old, my insurance would be a lot less. So if I was like 50, like a lot of people spend a lot of money on their insurance, on their gas.
The overhead, it adds up so much. Like,
car payments.
I bought my original car, and I went way over the 1/10 rule, but I spent $14,000 for my car at the time. It was 2 years old. It had only been driven by a little old lady that took it to church. Okay. And so like, I've had it now for, we'll be going on 8 years. So like, once you amortize that cost, like, we're talking like $2,000 a year, and I've never spent more than $1,000 a year in maintenance. So again, like, even if we want to be aggressive and say I've been lucky and and maybe I have some deferred maintenance, okay, we'll call it $500 a month or $500 a year on average for maintenance. I spend probably roughly the same amount on gas a year, and then you got insurance for like $1,000. Like, a vehicle's costing me somewhere between, I think, $3 to $4 grand max a year, right? And that's because I can afford it and I'm okay with it, but like, it's still an inefficient use. Like, I can't wait until we get to like a much more car sharing oriented. Like, this just, you saw, I haven't driven my car in like a week because it's snowing. I hate clearing snow, so I just let it get piled with snow into giant snowdrift. It's just so inefficient for every adult to have their own vehicle, in my opinion. I
agree. We could do a lot of car sharing, and like, especially when self-driving cars become a thing in major cities.
Oh, the efficiencies
like,
there,
if Uber ever came down in cost, I think it would make more sense. Like, you actually, I know people have compared the cost in major cities to Ubering versus owning a car, and like, it makes no sense to own a car. And it's easier to get Ubered around. Like, you feel rich.
Oh yes,
in the back of a car. Like,
I've actually embracing Uber more. Like, I had to go to a job site today, and I took an Uber there.
Oh wow.
One of my employees, like one of the guys that works for me, came back. Yeah.
You want to shovel?
I didn't want to shovel. Snow sucks, guys. Snow sucks a lot.
My worst car purchase is the one I have now, and it, like, of all my car purchases, I made a lot of different car purchases over my time. About a year ago, this time I made a purchase to get a little bit less than a year, but we had 2011 Hyundai Santa Fe. And it was because we couldn't find a Tucson.
And like, it looks great. Like to a non-car person, I'm like, that looks like almost a brand new car, right?
No, it's beautiful inside. Like, the interior is nice. It's got like all the bells and whistles.
Exactly.
I paid $7,500 for it. A car purchase is like a house purchase. It's one of those things you should spend time to optimize. It's worth your
it's
dollars
worth.
per hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I optimized the purchase, of course, and like, everyone should optimize the purchase. The sticker price is never the final price. Like, it's almost never the final price. With a new car, you can't even negotiate as much. So that's why I like used cars, because you can negotiate better. So $7,500, I got this car. It's a 4-cylinder, so it's decent on gas as far as like...
same with mine,
so it's a 4-cylinder. It's not like it's a 6-cylinder guzzling gas. I made the decision for 2 reasons. One, my wife and I were planning to have, with our family, maybe potentially 2 car seats in the back. And car seats take up a lot of space, and so in our little, we had a Ford Focus before, 2008 Ford Focus.
Yeah.
I loved the Ford Focus. It was great on gas. Never had any real maintenance issues. So I rationalized this purchase, and this car uses probably, I don't know, 20 or 30% more gas than my Focus does.
Okay,
I guess. It's still a 4-cylinder, both 4 cylinders, but it's a bigger car. It's an SUV.
More. Yeah.
It's a really efficient SUV. It's like the Equinox. It's in that line of really affordable. It's the most affordable entry level SUV. And even though we rationalized it and bought it and did all this and optimized the purchase, so we sold our old car, right? If you sell your old car for a decent amount of money and then you buy a new one, the net cost is like a couple grand. So we weren't even really way less than like probably 5% of my spending, less than that. Of my gross income, right? I was spending on a car. So, and now, like, having done that for a year, I can tell you, I'm in the market of getting rid of it. It was a regret. I made the wrong decision. I chose comfiness. I chose like, oh, it'd be so nice to have this car. I can drive like my daughter around and my wife around. Oh, it'd be so nice to like store renovation materials. Truth be told, I could have made it work without this SUV. And we're going to make a shift into something more fuel efficient because we want to do a lot of traveling. We like to drive to Ottawa and visit family, and road trips are something we want to really incorporate in our life. So I plan to do a road trip every year, even into the US, drive all around. So we want to get a car that's going to be really efficient. So that's for our goals, right? But at the end of the day, a car is a vehicle. It is a tool. It's not a status symbol. Like, your car doesn't define who you are. It really doesn't mean anything at all. As long as it's operational, like it's not going to break down on you or something midway down the road.
You want a reliable tool, but it's just a tool.
So as long as it's a reliable car, a reliable tool that's cost efficient to use. So that means from the purchase side as well as the maintenance side,
100%.
as well as the cost of fuel, right? And insurance too. Interestingly, insurance is a big factor. Newer cars are very expensive to insure. So all of your costs go up with a new car. Makes no sense, I don't think, to own a new car. Maybe I'll end up buying a new car at some point, but right now I don't see it as a viable option. So
and
sell that whip.
Yeah, exactly, right. And all that being said, like, there are valid arguments towards maybe leasing a vehicle if you're structuring it under your business, blah, blah. We're talking about the average person that's an employee that's trying to reach financial independence as fast as possible. You need to get your vehicle expenses under control. You need to get them to be 1/10 of your take home, or of your gross pay, ideally. If it's your take home, even better. But yeah, anyways, I just kind of wanted to have this chat with you guys one-on-one about vehicles, because I know that a lot of people that are coming over from Graham Stephan, you guys love the cars, and I get it. That's cool.
LA lifestyle.
Right, that LA lifestyle. And what's interesting is Graham actually approaches his vehicle in a very strategic way. So he has the Lotus, which is like a sports car.
Do you know he doesn't have his Prius anymore?
No, he just switched, And he told us that before. But like, he essentially views it as, to him, that vehicle is as much like a marketing tool as anything else, right? Like, he's not driving it
different situation than like personal consumption.
And, you know, to my knowledge, if I remember the story correctly, he bought it used, and he looks at it as like he bought it for X dollar amount, and he can own it for like 5 to 6 years and almost resell it for the exact same value, as long as he doesn't damage the vehicle in any way. Because again, like maybe more like fine art or other collectibles, these collectible cars, they retain their value significantly more, particularly if you're not buying them brand new. And so, like, for those of you that kind of want to jump in there and be like, but Graham's doing it. No, what Graham's doing makes sense to me. It's a very strategic thing. Everything he does is very methodical and logical. So, like, don't just assume that he's a car buff, that just, like, money doesn't matter when it comes to cars. He's still very methodical with how he approaches the problem of solving the vehicle tool. So yeah, anyways, I think that was it. Any like quick tips you want to share with the audience about vehicles? Or?
Yeah, I guess if you're like that person from the Christmas story, you're watching this, you're like, no, I drive, like, let's say I drive 2 hours to work, round trip, an hour each way, and you're currently spending like $300, $400, $500 a month in like gas and insurance. You need to make a lifestyle change. It's not an efficient use of your time, because let's think about it, you're doing 2 hours a day and commuting, like, holy crap.
Like, what's your time worth?
Right? So value your time. And then the other thing is, you know, make a lifestyle change to live closer to work, or find a job closer to where you live if you can't move. It's
like, change one of those aspects, right? Either change where you live or change where you work. One of those isn't working. It's as simple as that.
It's just not sustainable.
All right.
Reach F5.
Well, smash that like button if you enjoyed it. Don't hit the dislike if you're angry at us about the car thing. We're just telling you the truth. And hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. YouTube wants you to check out the videos down below. And until next time, I'm Matt McKeever. This is
Michael Rosehart.
You can find him on 25 and Free. So that's his blog, link in the video description down below. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.